Edible Spirit Hour.
Welcome to the Edible Spirit Hour. Hopefully you heard the theme song this time. We have an amazing guest today, Paula Carlotto from Alegria Bazaar. She's going to be on sooner rather than later in about 5 minutes. If you want a reading from Edible Spirit, or if you want to connect with Paula and ask any questions, just make sure that you join via Zoom, and don't just watch it on YouTube. Join us via Zoom. There are links at ediblespirit.com in the sidebar, right when you go to ediblespirit.com, as well as in our Insta bio at Edible Spirit. We're going to talk about the astrology. Yes, so we start with the FME update. We were well into the FME update when Red Fam let me know that we were muted. So good to know. Here we are back in action. The FME update is how we start every show. It's a combination of astrology and deliciousness. So we'll get to the deliciousness in a moment, but we'll start with the astrology, mainly that tomorrow is a full moon in Gemini. Full moon eclipse in Gemini. That's November 30th, pretty early in the morning, right? 1:30 in the morning, like 1:20 something on the West Coast, 4:30 in the morning, East Coast. Just a reminder, right? Oh, if you want full moon tea, Instagram at Edible Spirit on IGTV in the morning will be posted all 12 foodie scopes, maybe late tonight, all 12 foodie scopes, horoscopes for each of the signs, including if you were a snack, you'd be ... for the full moon and the new moon. So full moon foodie scopes will be up tonight or into tomorrow. But the main thing we wanted to share with you is just a reminder of the lunar cycles, right? Energy rises with a full moon, falls with the new moon, and then we start a new cycle. That energy builds and then falls. So we're at a peak right now. And it's a peak. Sun is in Sagittarius. So there is optimism, right, afoot. There is power and hope and, endurance coming into the picture thanks to the sun being in Sagittarius. But the Gemini side of things is increasing our thought process. Gemini is a sign that causes multiplicity and multiplication. So it can make things kind of confusing or complicated seeming. But that's why we were sharing with you. Full moon is a great time to release things, whereas new moon is a wonderful time to call things in, and not just things, experiences, dynamics, energies, intentions, right? But so full moon eclipse is and that's for like a 2-week cycle. But a full moon eclipse is doubly, triply powerful because eclipses come in like chunks of 6 and 18 months, right? And I think like an even longer, like 19-year cycle or something like that. But we're working with a window of 6 to 18 months when we set an intention during an eclipse cycle. So think about, literally Gemini, think about what you're ready to release, not just for the next 2 weeks, but for the next 6 to 18 months, right? And if releasing things is challenging for you, you're allowed to call things in, but you almost want to call something in reaction to what you're already releasing, okay? One of the examples from the foodie scopes was like, if you're noticing with all the Gemini voices in your head, if you're noticing that you're talking a lot of shit to yourself and you want to kind of tune out the negative voices, it's hard sometimes to just let go of negativity. Helps to pick up a positive voice, an affirming voice, right? So you can work with, welcoming and releasing patterns, but excuse me. Not how I sneeze, but there you go. We're channeling. So use this eclipse to work with intentions that will last you for the next 6 to 18 months. And yeah, like release some things, but make a sort of positive, proactive practice out of being the person who just released whatever it is that you've released. Simplest way of releasing during a full moon ceremony, writing the shit you want to release down, incense, candles, calling in your guides, grounding, shielding your energy, and then burning that and watching it burn and just letting it go and using the power of the eclipse as the kind of like telescopic stratospheric cannon that when you set those intentions during the eclipse, it sort of grows exponentially. Another fun fact about eclipses often comes with a feeling of everything speeding up. Gemini is really going to make us feel like everything's speeding up. But it's interesting because it's almost like it speeds up within the 6-week cycle of the eclipse. So we'll have this full moon eclipse, new moon, full moon. So we'll have boom, 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 3 eclipses kind of coming up, starting with this one. And that's really the window within which like the portal is most potent and powerful. And then that kind of 6-week thing extends for, 6 months, 18 months. It just kind of keeps going. So that is the astrological portion of the Empanadas. And meanwhile, we're going to share just a little something that we made. Oh, P.S. Okay, so wait, talking about Thanksgiving. We mentioned it on our last episode with Anthony Kerrigan, that we were connected with an amazing organization called Seeding Sovereignty. We've posted stuff about Seeding Sovereignty, and we couldn't remember the name of it. We were Truth's Giving is what Seeding Sovereignty is promoting, and we were talking about it, right? Like reclaiming the fucking lies about what went down on Thanksgiving, and reminding everybody that the myth needs to be reworked, that the myths that we've been sold and all the things that we've been told were marketed, were publicized, were sold to us in order to make us feel better about our past and our history and our present, and in order to erase other people's stories. So we posted Seeding Sovereignty link on the Instagram at Edible Spirit, but very exciting. We also have this dope thing, which is the Seeding Sovereignty White Guilt Guide. White Guilt Guide to So-Called Black Friday. So it's really good. It's got all sorts of fantastic information, but then also just amazing businesses and people and podcasts and organizations. Like, you definitely are going to want to check this one out. Seeding Sovereignty is up there. We also posted a link to the Children's Alopecia Project, which Anth Kerrigan, who was on last week, supports. So head over there if you want to make some donations as we near the end of the year. Final thing I'm going to share. Oh yeah, so I will share. So what happened was we were feeling some type of way about Thanksgiving, but then my partner and I had one person join us for Thanksgiving. We had been planning this visit for a really, really long time, drove in a car. Everybody got tested like well before we gathered, and then stayed home and was extra super safe. And we ended up having just the most intimate, quiet, tiny Thanksgiving with too much food, all of which we've been eating. And it was a really interesting thing that when faced with the prospect of someone I love very dearly, who I haven't seen in months and months and months, that we worked very hard to come together in order to have this moment together, to then find out that they love Thanksgiving as a food holiday and a non-religious holiday, and all of the things that, Thanksgiving means to so many people. I'm Edible Spirit. Like I had to cook. I had to cook the thing that fed the soul, that healed the beloved. That's what we're doing here. That's our intention. That's our motivation at all times, in all ways, with all things. So it was super interesting because I was talking a big game, but then realized that I'm like not so woke as to abandon this tradition completely. And so then I did a deeper dive on the Seeding Sovereignty website, and a lot of just amazing decolonization and like education, self-education practices that are going on there. And just really saw that like the PR movement is where it's at. That like a steady transition away from just, this is what this holiday is, and this is what it's always been, and Americans are never going to change anything about it. It's like, it might actually be more powerful to not destroy the holiday and tell the truth than it would be to like cancel the holiday and not tell the truth and end up just getting everybody polarized, into like, crazy progressive liberal, wet blankets want to cancel Thanksgiving, right? It's like, that was where I was at. But then when confronted with the humanity of someone that I love, wanting some fucking turkey and pumpkin pie, I rolled over, and I wasn't mad about it. And I've been talking about truthsgiving and reclaiming and reworking and redistributing and reappropriating all sorts of energy, wealth, consciousness into the truth of Thanksgiving, i.e. truthsgiving. So Seeding Sovereignty is up on the website. Okay, we're at 8:15, so we should probably go, but we're running a little bit behind. And I just want to show you the one more thing before we bring Paula in, which is, this bitch. So we made biscuits inspired by Brianna Holt, who was on the show a couple weeks ago. But Brianna shared this, her famous biscuit recipe on the Tandem Coffee website in order to raise money for Black Lives Matter and various charities. But I couldn't find the recipe, so I had to use just a different recipe. But in the end, came through. Oh, no, those are Paula's. Are those Paula's? Wait, hang on. In the end, came through with this bitch. Yeah. Okay, so check this out. This is a homemade biscuit with this, with this orange marmalade, because we didn't have cranberries. So rather than expose ourselves by going to the store to make cranberries, we peeled all the oranges that we had in the house and made like a marmalade kind of orange peel confit with ginger in it. This is fresh goat cheese from the farm down the way and a farm fresh egg on a motherfucking biscuit. So that's the F Me update. That's what we made this week, aside from that pumpkin pie, which we showed you the tail end of, and a full-on Thanksgiving dinner. Like I said, feeling some type of way about it, but in the end, it was powerful. It was worth it, and we felt really good having the safest possible Thanksgiving that we could possibly have. So I hope all of you guys are safe and well and taking care of yourselves. Has given to yes, the Friendsgiving movement. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for shouting out that you all couldn't hear. I really appreciate you. Yes, and we say the Friendsgiving movement has given T-Day new energy. And you'll find out more about it on the Seeding Sovereignty page too. They're dealing with like a PR campaign which Americans are resistant to. Americans don't want to get rid of Thanksgiving. So let's keep morphing it. All right. Thank you for bearing with our technical difficulties this evening. We are about to bring in our guest, our queen, the one, the only, the amazing Paula Carlotto. Let's bring in our queen. Ow! Hi, my love.
How are you?
Ow! Oh, turn off your YouTube.
My love.
Oh yeah,
Don't worry. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. It's just a little echo.
Because I was watching you. I
know. I love you. We were silent. We had a little technical difficulty at the beginning, but we got it all sorted. So thanks for your patience.
I don't know. I feel Mercury, but Mercury is retrograde now? No.
No, Mercury is now direct. No, the only things that are retrograde, Chiron is retrograde. I feel like one other planet is still retrograde, but we're out of most of the retrogrades. I think it's just full moon energy. The full moon tomorrow.
An eclipse.
And an eclipse. So just the sensitivity of everything,
Oh my Lord.
Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming to be with us today. Thank you for being a guest on the Edible Spirit Hour. You were last on a while ago, right? When we had when we were still just calling these the moon zooms, right? You came,
Yes.
We had a little conversation, but now we are here on the Edible Spirit Hour, and we start every moment that we have a guest with us by asking questions about how are you healing? How are you feeling? What's going on with you? How are you taking care of yourself? How are you taking care of others? Where are you at?
I learned a lot in this quarantine. I was keep going and going and going and going, and this quarantine give me the grounding to take day by day and to feel it, what I feel, it's no more bullshit, because you know what, it's like, it's in the way, it's too much going on, you need to go with the truth always, you know what I mean? It's like, so I came with this conclusion, right now my life has sense in all the ways, because it's so funny, because in this quarantine I started to be vegan. In March, a guy who I dating, he's vegan, and he say, please cut the eggs, and I say, why? And I start to see documentaries, and and was really interesting and turned me on, but because that, I find the passion again to cooking, which was was something like in the way, I don't, was really heavy for me. I say, oh my gosh, what I'm going to eat, but now, I don't know, made me create more in the kitchen, gardening. This, for me, this quarantine, was really distracting me and creating to feel better.
Right. Well, there's an idea in both mysticism, but also even just in the theater, that true creativity comes from limitations, not from freedom, right? That we don't actually, that if we're free, we feel great, but that if we're limited somehow, either quarantining or even with ingredients. I find that in the kitchen, it's like people are always apologizing. All my LA friends, like, oh, I don't eat this, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it's fine. We're going to make something even more delicious and more exciting. And you know what? This was the same thing I realized with my friend who was here for Thanksgiving, where I was just like, I realized that I love to cook in order to make people feel good and to feel
that is all the food about, it's medicine,
Totally. So wait a minute though, because you're from Argentina, and I want to ask you a couple questions here now. I know that you have a history in food, right? Cooking and catering.
Yeah. I used to work with Francis Malman in South America. Do you know Francis Malman?
No, I don't think so.
No, oh my gosh, you need to see something about him.
I will.
I'm going to send you the night. Oh, it's amazing. He's a visionary, and is aesthetic chef, and use like a lot of organic product, like season product, and with him, I used to work in a little fisherman town, which was one bulb in the whole little town, light bulb, and was so nice, was beautiful. So you are there from, I don't know, I didn't wear the watch anymore, because you going with the cycle of the nature.
Right, of course, with the sun and the water and the tides.
And I believe this quarantine was part of that, was a start to healing from what we have, right. In
100%,
hand.
100%. I was talking to someone about it yesterday in terms of the root chakra also being about, root chakra is about our circumstances and the things that we have and what the resources that we have available. Second chakra is about how we feel about those things. And third chakra is about what do we do to change the way we feel or to do something new. And what happens to so many people is we're always feeling and changing and feeling and changing. This is something I feel, I want to do something about it. I feel this way, I do something about it. And we forget to stop and look at what we have, what's around us, what's available, and to work with what we have instead of what we want.
We miss the magic.
Yeah.
Because I believe in in the be still and in silence, you see the magic around you.
Of course. And if you
within you, you know,
right, within you and around you, but you have to start from that first step, right? So I think so many people have gone through this. I wonder if anybody feels this way too, right? Just that this whole process that we've gone through, this healing process, has been, you know, disorienting, but only if you're trying to hold on to what you think should be or what you feel should be, you know, only if you're really attached to what was. And it's a process letting go of things that no longer serve you. You know, it ends up feeling good, but it doesn't feel good necessarily when it's happening, you know. But I think okay, wait, but I want to ask you one other thing though. So you were working for this chef for Thomas Malman, you said, right? In South America.
Francis Malman,
sorry. So in South America. And then when did you come to LA?
I came to LA when I was 30 years old. Just because, you know, like I came to visit my aunt who gave me the ticket, and I love it. I feel like home. I stay here. I started working in kitchens here, you know, in really nice restaurants. And for me, you know, like making jewelry was something like, you know, was therapeutic. Like, you know, like, you know, after working, I was coming back home and I need something like beading, something like grounding, you know, like creating in another ways with colors. And when I came here, I discovered, like, you know, like one day I went to the bead show, you know, and was bead and crystals. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, and I started to buying crystals, you know, like, and I started to studying them. And I started to say, oh my life was so much transformation in that time. Like, you know, was amazing how I started to understand who I was, you know, like, and working from there, you know, like, you know, growing in the way life is coming, you know?
Absolutely. So you were making jewelry then before, because I know Alegria started as a truck, right? As a truck, as a fashion mobile, right?
Well, this is the thing, okay? Like after 3-4 years I was here, I came back to Argentina to visit my parents, you know, because I couldn't before because I was illegal for 2 years, you know. So, you know, like, yeah, I was illegal. I was like, you know, I have a nice accent, but you know, like I was illegal. So when I went to Argentina, the funny thing was this, you know, I was cleaning my room, which always, like, they never changed anything about it, you know? And I know. And I saw, you know, like, I saw like pieces of like jewelry I was making when I was 8 years old.
Bumps, I get bumps. Whoa.
And I found the book was a cooking book, and I was 8 when I was collecting recipes, you know, like kind of the Mary Kay, you know, like notebook. Doing them, and that was my recipes. So, you know, like what I believe this quarantine help us to put in perspective what we have already inside us. You know, like already I believe we need to listen more our inner child, because, you know, like that is the one who was really clear and clean in that time.
They know what's up. They get it all.
Love, you know, like, and after we getting busy and we getting stressed and we getting, like, you know, with a lot of bullshit we're doing, and we forgot who we are, you know. So I believe this quarantine put me in perspective, like, you know, like who I am, where I came from, because, you know, like I did the genetic test too, you know, the one, you know, and I have more nationalities than I thought. I'm Greek too. I'm Greek. 1.7% Greek.
Wow, that's great. I love that. Wait, but you know, just this idea of what you said about the quarantine and about, you know, who you are and the fact that you had a similar experience the other day, because we've been unpacking all these boxes, and I found a notebook from when I was probably 12, 13 years old, and there was all of this spiritual stuff in it. And Paula, I swear to God, I don't remember thinking about those things, caring about those things. And yet there they were, very philosophical, like, what is this about? Or what does this mean? Or, you know, so interesting. But there's this idea that your soul, who you truly are, is who you were, who you are, and who you always will be.
Exactly.
And that everything else is who you're not.
No,
And our spiritual journey is a process of shedding the skins of false selves until just what's left over is left. And even, you know what, example, the Edible Spirit Hour, I thought it needed to be this and that and X, Y, and Z and this other thing. And everybody's been so amazing coming on. I've gotten to feature so many beautiful, powerful healers. But I realized that at the end of the day, I'm here because I want to talk about food and spirituality. And it's what's always been inside of me, what's always going to come out of me. And I was wondering today, I was like, I wonder how much I've complicated my life by just complicating my life, you know, by like doing things that have nothing to do with me or who I am. And that's really the healing process.
Don't do it. That is a struggle. When you start to doing that, that's why you see a struggle in your life. That's what I feel all the time. You know, like, you know, that's why we need to be more like still sometimes, you know, like to figure what we want, you know, like I'm learning because you know how I am. It's like,
I think it's really important too, as LA's on lockdown now again, right?
Oh my gosh, tomorrow, yeah.
Tomorrow. So I think it's really important as we go into this to remember that we all have to be grown-ups here and that we all have to, like you said, cultivate stillness, try to be still, like stay home, you know, do your thing. I want to share one thing that you sent me because I'm very excited by this. Let's see, is this the one? Yes. Okay, I think I pulled these up before. Yes.
Look delicious. You're going to put the video?
I'm going to play the video for everybody because I just want you to hear the sizzle.
So, sexy.
Vegan empanadas.
I'm obsessed. So you made vegan empanadas.
Yep.
What did you use on the inside?
The inside, I do like kind of the sofrito, like kind of the base of onions. I don't use too much onions, but like I put celery, carrots, and what else? And
so tomato, garlic.
No, not tomato because I'm so allergic to. Not allergic, but like give me a lot of like
irritation, inflammation. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm go with that. But I love tomato. But you can put tomato if you like, like, or a paste of tomato. But what I do instead, I on the side I put like the Beyond Meat, like ground Beyond Meat, and I put salt and sweet paprika, and I kind of smash it because otherwise it's kind of a block, and when you put it in the pot, like it's going to be, I don't know. And like you do the celery, the carrot, the garlic, the onions first, and after you put the meat and with the paprika, salt, and I shred a zucchini because I like the zucchini because like kind of like creamy. It's gives me that kind of But you can put, to tell you the truth, you can put any. I love that. That was my Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, beautiful. What's in the bowl? Is that like chimichurri or what is it?
No, hummus? It's a spinach hummus.
Oh, yum.
So I blanch, like the spinach, and I put everything in the processor, and I put these blanched leaves, like inside. It was so good. And I put olive oil on top and turmeric.
Ooh, it looks so good. But these are the empanadas. Look how sexy they are.
I know. That's amazing.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's just, it's not normal for an Argentinian person to stop eating meat. So,
oh my gosh, yes.
So I'm very proud of you for making this amazing, making that amazing adaptation of a recipe. It's so cool.
you know what? That's what I'm having a lot of fun to making recipes, because I'm transforming the recipe in veganism. And they're amazing. I feel much better. I started to be vegan because I saw this documentary, and I believe it's kind of like the gangster, and kill all these corporations and big capitalists, like medicine, like industries, because they are industries.
Yeah.
And because I'm sorry to say this, and I offend someone, but it's mafia totally.
Sure.
And when you see that kind of stuff, it's like we cannot fight in any way, but be vegan, create much pollution, have that much trash, kill any animals, so the cycle is more like what we're talking about, coming back to the origins, of who we are, and
Well, it's also a simplification, and there's some people that there's so many different arguments about veganism too, that like people can't afford it, or that it's too expensive, but it's not true. And
you need to cook a lot.
You have to cook a lot, and not everybody has the time to do that. But I think it's important to also recognize that there is not just mafia vibe, but like a political conspiracy around this, because the meat lobby, the dairy lobby, the corn lobby is constantly pumping money into Washington.
And if you open, like one of the Breast Cancer Association, pages, website, okay? When you see which kind of diet they recommend to a patient with cancer, and it's milk, meat, cheese.
Really?
No. Open up. You have to see what the health. That is where you have all this kind of information. And I was shocked, and I was so upset. That moment was like, I'm vegan. Fuck it. That's it. It's so like when you see the recipes, they have all like different kind of ingredients. And when you see the sponsors, they are Danone, farmers, I don't know, like sausages, so it's awful when you see
it's
that.
awful. I because I just moved, I've gotten a chance to meet some really incredible farmers in the area that I'm in. And it's just really interesting to see how these people have sustained their livelihoods for generations now. But it's also really scary to see how quickly people can just disappear because some other company comes in or shows up, and like, I think it's really important that we just remember that, that veganism is amazing because it is something that we can choose to do right away that has immediate effects in our lives and on the environment. But I think it's also really important for people to remember that there is political work to be done, and fundraising to be done, and a whole lot of consciousness that needs to be raised around all the different socioeconomic problems with, like, because I remember I had a really good friend who was working in Baltimore for a long time, and she was talking about how the idea of being vegan in a town like Baltimore is a flex. It's a flex of privilege, right? Because and that she would get made fun of because she went shopping at Whole Foods for anything. It was like there was a different kind of bias, like, who the fuck are you to be vegan, when I'm eating whatever I'm eating. So I really just love, though, that this has been a part of your practice to take the streamlining that's come along with quarantine and COVID and to make changes, right? Make changes in your daily practice. This is a great example, too, about the 6th house Virgo. Whenever we talk about making changes to your daily routine, what you do, what you eat, where you sleep, how you do it, it's not glamorous. And sometimes you fall off the wagon. But you set an intention, like around an eclipse like this, where you say,
lifestyle, it's a lifestyle.
Yes.
It's just a lifestyle. That's it.
And the eclipse is a great moment to try if you're on the fence and thinking about going vegan or plant-based or cutting something out of your diet. It's a great time to do that, to say, I'm releasing this from my experience and welcoming in greater balance, digestion, sleep, whatever it is. So you can even use something like this, or like an exercise routine during a full moon eclipse gives kind of like an oomph to whatever the intention is that you're setting.
No, and beside that, like your clarity is much sharper.
Have you noticed that? You feel clearer?
Oh yes,
That's
yes.
great. I'm
Yes.
so glad.
No, I feel so clear, and I feel so. You know what I feel too. Like I don't feel like I'm reacted anymore.
Amazing.
Because
Amazing.
to be
You're present.
Is different. You change your perspective. I don't know, your perspective. Like.
Amazing. Paula, I want to share the screen, so I'm going to do your aura pick now.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going to draw with you, and I'm going to show everybody what we're drawing. But meanwhile, I want to make sure that before we get to the end of today, that we get to show the viewers a couple things that you have on hand that are for sale. Tell me, are people coming to the store, but you go to lockdown tomorrow, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm going to do tonight. Actually, I need to do a newsletter, because what I'm going to do is like by appointment only,
Okay.
or no more than 2 people at the time.
Okay.
Usually I was 4. Now I'm going to do 2.
Okay.
Like,
great.
but I'm going to do by appointment. Like only,
Yeah.
but I need to work because I need to move. So.
And then do you mail stuff too?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. So if anybody sees anything here or DMs you, sets up a phone call, you'll take them through the store and stuff?
Yes, totally.
Perfect. So I'm going to draw your aura pick. You can stay put if you like, but if you have some stuff that you have to show us, gather it, and I'm going to draw your aura pick. Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes.
good. You're taking you with you. Okay, great. So I'm going to share this, and I'm going to set everyone up for that.
It's really smoky right now.
It is good. You cleared it out.
I know. I was burning a lot of sage.
Good. I think it's really important. Yeah, maybe see. So I want you to show people stuff that you've made, but also if there's anything that you think of that's good for these energies that we've been talking about, clearing and changing patterns and all that stuff. Okay.
You know what I like about it? I love my candles.
Oh, here, wait. Let's show everybody. Show us the candles first, and then we'll do your aura pick.
Look at this. Dream on.
Oh.
Because
Dream
I
on.
make it with essential oils, with crystals. Look.
Oh, wow. And you put those crystals in there and charge them up, and you pick them based on the intentions.
Yes.
What are the other?
They have young living essential oils, so they are all high frequencies essential oils. Yeah.
What are some of the other flavors that you have? Dream on.
I have joy and abundance. I have abundance, new moon, protection. What else?
I think. Which one?
Be love.
Be love.
Be balance.
Be balanced. Okay, great. I think it's a great. For me, I actually think Dream On is probably a really good one for the full moon, right? Because it kind of opened your mind and opened your heart, all that stuff. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Wait, so I'm gonna do your aura pick now. Let's welcome this in. Okay, let's see. Oh, you look so cute, and there's so much nice stuff in the store.
I did it with the whole store because it's the last month, Mikey.
So much. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go. So interestingly enough, there is a lot of purple around your legs. This tells us, yes, that things are changing dramatically, and that even your path is changing. That where your feet are leading you is changing. Where your legs are taking you is changing very dramatically. So I would say, just based on this first little thing, with this full moon eclipse, you want to set intentions to release all resistance to change.
Ooh, yeah, I like it.
Yes, you want to let go of being resistant to change and transformation, and use all sorts of positive affirmations like, I trust the direction my heart and my feet are carrying me, right? That would be really good. Okay, let's see. Now, also, around your crown, there's this beautiful yellow color.
Oh, nice.
And
That's
the
why
yellow.
you're
You what?
That's why you're wearing that beautiful necklace.
That's why. I bring my Oshun to chill with your Yamaya. Okay.
I love
Okay. And then we have so the yellow is the color of conflict and challenges and learning through conflict and fighting and action and what's interesting about this is that it's all around your third eye and your crown.
Mm-hmm.
So it's saying that, it's saying, you know what, there's even a little bit of something like, just because you told us the story of when you came to LA of like that girl who found the crystals and was like, wow, like the universe is so big and whatever you were learning. And now your third eye is like, the world doesn't look like that anymore. And that makes sense?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. And yet there's also this thing around your crown, which is like, all right, well, you just going to sit down and take it? Or are you going to believe in the truth even more? Right?
Oh, wow.
And this is an opportunity. I'm recommending this to everybody I've been doing readings with. This is a moment, like you said, you said this already. It's a moment to streamline and simplify, because why not, right? I even said to someone I was working with, you know, I don't want to hear about how exhausted you are when you're traveling all over the world and working and doing this and that and the other thing, because all I hear now is, you know, you complaining about having to sit at home, you know, so nothing is forever. This is not going to be forever. And yet it's like, what are you going to, it's not just about what are you going to do, but what are you going to do to make sure that you're living in the world that you know is possible, right? That's what they say. Okay, and then we go right to your heart. Interesting. Okay, so this is very interesting. So this tells us that there is green in your heart, which is good. We want to see green in the heart. That's the color of love. It's structures, harmony as well. This is what this brush is. And it's saying to us, yeah, you're learning lessons in your heart as well about trust, about faith, about love, about balance. And then there's more in here.
Wow. I have a rainbow.
You really do.
Rainbow.
Okay. Okay. There you go. That's it. Okay. So we've got coming out of your heart, fun, creativity, sex, art, love, trust, faith, challenges, difficulties. Who am I? Who do I think I am? What the fuck is this? And then there's all this energy from the pink, from your spirit guides and from your ancestors also coming through. I mean, look, honestly, this looks like someone whose heart is having an awakening, right? Your heart is having an awakening. Your heart is waking up to a lot of truth. Your root chakra and your sacrum, they need to keep up, right? You can't just, but this is, I wish I didn't have to say this to you, but I got to say this to you. You can't just believe in love. You can't just believe that the universe is a perfect and balanced place. You also have to confront the realities that are immediately in front of you. That's the root chakra, the red, and grapple with how you feel it can be versus how it fucking is right here, right now. Okay? And as a Virgo, I know you're a Virgo, as a Virgo, it's okay if it takes work, a little bit of work every day, a little bit of work every day. But the important thing to do is to check in with, how do I feel about everything? Love, faith, trust, hope, challenges, fun, excitement. versus what's really going on, right?
Okay.
Everybody's fucking dying and we're in lockdown, right? Like that's a reality to take in. And the theory is those two realities don't necessarily want to live alongside each other, and yet they do. And the truth is, if you take the world that you know is possible and accept the circumstances that are right in front of you, then you're going to know what you have to work on. Then you're going to know what you have to adjust, because it is up to each of us to create the world that we know is possible using the shit that we're dealt, right? It's up to each of us to make a beautiful recipe out of whatever the ingredients are in front of us. And what your AuraPic is saying is, you're really trying to figure out how to do this. So I love how they're showing it to us, which is like, all of this stuff in your heart is almost like the recipe that you want to make, but the root chakra is giving you the ingredients that you have to work with. So the theory here would be, don't just dream. Don't just, write an open-ended check and wait to figure out how you're going to cash it. You look at the worst parts of what's in front of you. Look at the worst aspects of what you're dealing with, and then work using your solar plexus, using your power, using your energy, work to make the reality, in quotes, a little more like the fantasy in your heart, when really I would say work to make the nightmare around you more like the dream that's inside of you.
Okay, yeah.
And just remember that that's important work. It was lovely when I was writing the description for today's episode. I called you an inspirational goddess. I wanted to call you a domestic goddess, but I was really thinking about people who work with you and people who come to the store all the time and who've been your customers for a long time. We really all come to you for a very specific kind of inspiration, for an energy that is both uplifting and also practical. Very Sagittarius, but also very Virgo, and just, you're so present and you're so with us. So just never forget how valuable it is for you to be grappling with your truth and grappling with what's real and working to make things better, and literally just telling everybody, keeping everybody posted along the way. This is where I'm at today. This is what I'm struggling with right now. This is the crystal that I'm using, to work with that. This is the affirmation that I'm using. It's literally shit that you do all the time anyway. I'm just saying, but don't forget that it's also important to take in the worst aspects of what you're facing, because then you're going to know what to work on and what to treat. And I think that's what the yellow is around your third eye, where it's almost like when your third eye was opening like that when you first came to LA. Oh my God, look at all this possibility. Sometimes that can be rose-colored glasses too. We can see things maybe even more beautiful than they are, and it's almost like now it's important for you to be able to see everything as it is, so that you can set about improving and refining and working to make it all better. Okay. All right, my love. Beautiful. Well, that's your AuraPic. So I love you so much. Let's see. Is there anything else you want to show us that you have on hand in case anybody who's watching is thinking about getting something from Alegria?
From Alegria, I have this.
Show us some jewelry.
That's what I want to show. Yeah. Let me see. Oh, I love this one. Look at this piece.
Ooh. Oh, pretty.
That one is tiger eye with turquoise. It's American turquoise.
So tiger eye and turquoise would be good for confidence and speaking up and speaking out, expressing yourself.
It's strength, vitality, intuition, shamanic energy. Yeah.
Trusting yourself. And look at all those beautiful spheres and towers. And there's so much great art. What's that pendant? What are those pendants? Show us one of those.
This is ocean Jasper.
Ooh, oh, I love that. Oh my God. I was using Ocean Jasper in readings all last year. I had a big piece in my pocket that I always kept with me.
Like that. Oh. It's so hard. You know, this is Moldavite.
Oh, damn. That's a big old Moldavite piece.
I know. This is beautiful.
you-
I love Moldavite.
Do you like Moldavite?
Me?
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh my God. I think it's too much for me. I can't fucking handle it. It's like,
What?
it's like I leave my body completely and can't find my way back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, don't do that, Mikey. No, we need to hear.
I'm not gonna do that. Don't worry, I'm sure.
These candle holders, look at this.
Ooh, is that selenite?
Yep.
Beautiful. So what's lovely about that is when you drop, it's got like a room for a votive on. Yeah, perfect. When you drop a little tea light in there, it's gonna shine the light out through the selenite, right?
Yeah. No, it's beautiful.
And that just sends, and for anybody who wants to know too, selenite is also really cleansing for a room. I always think of selenite almost like as a air filter, like a Brita filter for the energy.
Totally. And it's good for protection and releasing all the shit of the day. Like, you know,
Right.
like it's like when you're going home, you take a shower and you put the selenite bar or a selenite piece in your heart chakra, it's clearing a lot. You know, like it's great. And it's great for spiritual activation too.
I love that. I love that. Let's see. So we showed your empanadas. We talked about your Beyond Beef. We also, we have one more little segment to do, which is a yumminess. So I want you to tell me, we already covered your empanadas, so you might have to come up with a different one, but tell me something super yummy that's here on the earth plane that makes you feel like a transcendent, cosmic, divine goddess diva.
You know what? I want to tell you something from my roots. And what I love, and give me like, I'm home all the time when I have it. I want to show you.
Please. Oh, mate.
I'm telling you something. If I need to go to the island, I take just this.
Yes.
Because it's something like now, I'm putting like rose petals. No. With the rose petals, it's insane. It's organic. No, it's amazing. And I put like blue lotus flowers, the blue lotus tea. I'm going to start working next year with Anima Mundi, which is an apothecary from New York, but she's from Costa Rica. And she have all these products. They are amazing. So what I'm doing with the mate, I put, rose is good for the open heart, so I having that every morning. But, this is the most delicious things, in the planet. When I wake up in the morning, it's like people with this first sip of coffee.
Right.
For me, I have the first sip of mate, and I'm so present.
Well, it's nice because it's also a ritual, because you steep it like the tea and then you stir it. Do you put sweetener in it or you drink it straight?
No, I don't put that. Sometimes I put like
I knew it. I didn't think you would.
Maple syrup, but you know what? I want to tell you something else. This mate, the cup inside, this one, somebody make it for me in Buenos Aires, but inside, the wood inside is Palo Santo.
So it gives you like sweetness.
So the Palo Santo mates, they are the best. And I never associate Palo Santo with the mate of Palo Santo.
Right, of course.
And I like 10 years ago and say, oh, fuck, it's the same Palo Santo.
I had no idea.
It's not amazing?
That is so cool.
And always my mom say, the best mate is the Palo Santo one. Get the Palo Santo one. And I have my mates of so it's so ceremonial. It's so ceremonial. It's so, in Argentina, it's our ritual to go to the house. They start the reunion with mate. And
right.
It's kind of like when you go into Morocco, you have the mint tea.
Of course, or when you go to Cuba, they serve you like the cafe, cafecito.
Yeah, not now exactly. Not now with the COVID, but we're drinking from the same bombilla,
right?
And we're passing on, and you sit with friends or your family, and it's
It's you know, it makes me think too is that I made this perfume once with rose and Palo Santo and I think vetiver or something else in it, but it makes sense that rose would also be delicious with that Palo Santo flavor because they're like complementary scents as well.
I love that mix.
So delicious. I wonder, wow, well that's great. Let me think. I mean, is there
Try with rose and Palo Santo.
Yeah, you know, I'm trying to think if there's anything that I have that's better than that. No, I mean that to add on to that, but no, I love that. The thing that made me feel very divine this week was actually your empanadas. I mean, I was shook by those to see. It's such a brilliant idea because you can chop it up like picadillo and make it, and it probably similar texture.
Good.
So good.
Well,
thank you, my angel, for joining us for this episode. I love you so much.
I'm grateful for you always.
Always for you as well. Everybody, go to Paula Carlotto or at Alegria Bazaar on Instagram. You can DM Paula there if you want to shop, or you know, if you're in LA and you want to do a private visit, or if you're not in LA and you want to order from afar. This is an amazing small business with beautifully curated stuff and wonderfully made things. So now's the time to support.
And it's kind of the experience because you come in here and you have like the sage is running, you know, like, you know, the and the essential oils. People like it or hate it, but you know, like most of them.
Of course. So meanwhile, thank you all for joining so much. Stay tuned. Most likely tomorrow morning, if not later tonight, we'll have your foodie scopes posted and up. And happy full moon. And let's see what else. Yeah, we're gonna keep on keeping on. And we talked about, I guess we talked about it last week, but the next kind of big thing we have coming up is Saturn conjunct Jupiter in Aquarius on December 21st. So our next kind of big astrological moment, aside from these eclipses, is going to be that big solstice on the 21st. So we're all in this together. Reach out if you need Edible Spirit. Reach out if you need Paula and Alegria. And thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Edible Spirit Hour.
Put the mask on. Put the mask on, please.
Oh, wear your mask. Wash your damn hands. Be very careful. Don't fuck around, everybody. You know,
No,
this is real deal stuff. We love you so much, and we are out of here.
The Edible Spirit Hour.